Hey everyone, it's your host Joy, and welcome to the Becoming Fierce Female Entrepreneurs podcast. We are happy to have you join us as we delve into the stories, strategies, and successes of entrepreneurs around the world. Thank you all for watching and subscribing to our podcast. Today, we have an amazing panel of incredible women entrepreneurs who will share their insights, experiences, and practical tips on how to cultivate mindfulness in our personal and professional lives. So, whether you're just juggling multiple projects, feeling the weight of entrepreneurial stress, or simply seeking a more centered approach to your daily grind, this discussion is for you. So grab your journal or a sheet of paper, and I'll be right back.
Thank you for tuning in today. Our mission is to equip and empower you to dig in and soar higher, doing the things that you love. This podcast is where you'll hear leading experts from around the globe figuring out what you could be doing to tackle your greatest business challenges. So get ready to hear from some of the brightest minds and boldest thinkers on how they're taking on these problems and how you could too. Now here's your host.
Welcome back. So most of you know me, but for those of you who may not know me, my name is Joy Norman, and I'm your empowerment and success mentor. And I'm also the CEO of the international organization and movement Becoming Fierce Female Entrepreneurs. And I am blessed to help success-driven women entrepreneurs get past their fear, procrastination, move forward, take action, and build a profitable and sustainable business without wasting time on strategies that just don't work. Even if you've been struggling to grow your business for years and you haven't seen much fruit. And I'm also the host of this podcast, which is a podcast all about uplifting, informing, and empowering women entrepreneurs to grow a sustainable and profitable business, because working your business can be tough and overwhelming. And it's easy to get lost in a busy life. So we just want to inspire you and support your growth. So today, the Sister Talks ladies are here, and we are diving into a topic that resonates deeply with all of us: mindful to mindful, a journey to inner peace and productivity. These ladies have faced the same struggles we all do, and they found ways to harness the power of mindfulness to not only survive but thrive. So thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey from being mindful to mindful. So let's dive in and discover how we all can embrace a more balanced, peaceful, and productive way of living and working. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us today for Sister Talks. I love our sisterhood community. It's nice to be a cheerleader in someone else's life, and it's nice to be willing and ready to be vulnerable about your own struggles. And we all need to connect with other women, and chances are you are not the only one going through a difficult situation. And sometimes the greatest strength comes in recognizing that we cannot do things alone. So thank you so much for inspiring, empowering, and supporting others to soar higher. Yes. All right, let's start with introductions. Give us your name, where you're joining us from, and what you do.
Hi, I'm Mitta Wise. I'm living in Los Angeles, originally from New Zealand, and I'm an empowerment coach and hypnotherapist, mostly for women 40 plus. and love it. I work a lot online, but I also do some in-person work as well. So here I am. I love being in Joy's endeavors and working with Joy. She's great. And this is a lot of fun. And it's also really helpful, I think, for people.
Yeah.
My name is LaToy. I am a mom of 4 full-time. I work part-time for the state, and I am a becoming fierce female entrepreneur's assistant.
Yay!
In California, here in California.
I am Reverend Chaplain Connie Donley. I'm an ordained crisis and law enforcement chaplain, and I do have my Doctor of Divinity degree. And what I do is I help train other like-minded people to do the things that I do so that we can, as a community, be safer and healthier.
I'm Krista, and I am from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and I help women with fibromyalgia learn to thrive.
Awesome. Welcome. So, would you ladies like to play a game?
Sure.
Of course.
That's what Sister Talks is all about, helping people with games.
Yeah. All right. So let's play mindfulness scenarios. All right. So I'm going to read a few mindfulness scenarios or situations that could happen in your daily life or in a business setting. And you must describe how you would react to the scenario if you were mindful, stressed, overwhelmed, versus how you would handle it if you were more mindful, meaning like calm, present, aware. All right. So this is just a fun way to highlight the differences between being mindful and mindful, while also providing practical tips on how you approach everyday challenges with a mindful mindset. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
So, email overload. You open your inbox and you see 100 unread emails, many marked as urgent. What would be your mindful reaction and or your mindful reaction?
All right. Well, the first thing I do, if I see all that, my initial response in the natural would be to freak out, going, oh my gosh, all of these urgent emails, they're all urgent. That tells me I need to deal with them all right now. But then you just take a breath, wait about 3 seconds and go, okay, just look through them. If they really urgent, what I do is I make a red flag on them if it's something that I know I need to deal with today as quickly as possible. And then I just go through them that way, and I take care of the most urgent ones first. Once I have the situation handled, then I green flag that same email. I don't get rid of it because who knows if I may need to come back to it. But instead of just freaking out and going, oh my gosh, I just calm down for literally a couple seconds, take a deep breath, and then I go through and I just highlight the ones that I really think I need to handle first.
Very good.
So for me, my mindful reaction is also, oh my gosh, but it's not a terrible mindful reaction, because part of me actually looks at it and says, this is great. People are communicating with me, right? So as part of, I have that as well. So my mindful reaction is not terrible, but I sort of do what Connie does really. And I just, do the ones initially. I usually leave time in the morning to do my emails. So that's another reason I don't have such a huge mindful reaction, because I've left a little bit of time to go through my emails. So I do the same. I'll go through the ones that I feel like are really sort of important right now. And then maybe I'll come back in an hour and I'll do some of the others, or 3 hours, or whatever it is, right? Time where I can allocate another extra little time. But I think in the past, it used to be a big mindful reaction, and now it's just sort of like mindful and sort of grateful.
That's true. That's good.
Oh my goodness, Mita. I love that you said grateful. That is awesome.
People are communicating with me. Yay.
Okay, unexpected traffic jam. You're on your way to an important meeting and you get stuck in a major traffic jam. What is your mindful reaction and or your mindful reaction?
Yeah, I hate being late.
Yeah.
But then I also always run late. I always run a little late. It's not that hour extreme late, but it's a good 15, 20 minutes, always just a little bit behind. And I hate it. But the one I just had this experience, I was going to Napa and I was like, it was so hard because I tried to anticipate it, but then it was a whole hour longer than I thought, even when I gave myself extra time. So I'm like, I actually left early to prevent this. And because of some unforeseen traffic things that were added to it that, out of my control, I'm like, I'm still about to be late. Dang, like I was so stressed out. So in that moment, I start just thinking. I was by myself, so my wheels start turning. And I called the restaurant because it was a reservation, made it worse. It was a reservation. But instead of calling the people, people though I was meeting up with, I called the restaurant first to see if they can push it back, to see if that was even an option. I said, let me just call. So I got the number of reservation. I'm in the car. I called the reservation. And then they said, yeah. So then I knew the people who I was going with wouldn't mind that. So I went ahead and did it. And then I told them, hey, I'm running behind, because the stressfulness of that, telling them that I'm going to be behind, gets everybody maybe a little stressed. But I was like, hey, I'm going to be late. This is an accident on the road or something's going on. But I called the restaurant. They said it was okay. And then they were all like, okay, cool. And then crisis averted. It was like, cool. So just sitting there, that's just an example, but you could use that in any scenario. But it was just like, okay, can I do anything about this? I was like, hey, I'll call this. So sometimes just thinking through and just, and then at the end of the day, you just text and say, hey, I'm going to be late. And they're way more understanding than you think sometimes. You get anxious about it and they're like, it's all good. And if we could just stop like catastrophizing things right away, we could just take a moment and go, hold on. Even if I would have told them, they may have called and did what I did with the restaurant. It wouldn't have been like, oh, you're late. Think about who you're with and who. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I love that.
I agree.
Yep. So yes, I definitely always plan for traffic, but sometimes it does get worse than you expect. So probably like a mindful, very old, very immature, very insecure me would have been like, oh my goodness, they're going to hate me. I'm going to lose my job, whatever. But now just send it like at LaToy, or send a quick phone call, put up some good tunes, enjoy the ride, because not much else you can do.
Yes, you can't teleport.
Yeah, exactly.
You wish, but it's like, well,
find the humor in the people who are racing back and forth going, come on, people. You're not getting farther ahead.
I do not like being late. I am so old school.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for technology. I'm turning on my GPS in the house to go, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
How much time do I need? That's just probably old school in me, because I hate being late for anything. And so yes, I stay mindful probably the whole time, being anxious and frustrated. Oh, I'm still learning when it comes to this one. I'll just turn on my podcast and because there's nothing I can do about it, but I am frustrated.
And if you get yourself all worked up and you get yourself all stressed, my goal is to be at peace as much as I can. And why get all stressed out over something you really don't have any control over? So just go with the flow, do your best you can, and what everybody else said.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. And I love what this lady is doing, because she rolled the window down and then just listen to the sounds. Just listen to the sounds, and that's And so I like what she's doing. I'm getting there.
Good tunes helps.
What'd you say, Krista?
Good tunes helps, especially if you got your window down. That way everyone can see that you're jamming out.
Yeah, yes. Yep, turn it down and maybe help somebody else relax.
Exactly.
Praise and worship.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
Oh, that was a good one. Okay, double book schedule. You realize you have accidentally scheduled two important meetings at the same time. Oh no. So what is your mindful reaction and or your mindful reaction?
Well, as the first thing I tend to do is go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. And they're both important. So honestly, we just in a matter of seconds, I kind of go over, I know what each appointment is about. I know they're both important, but is one perhaps a little more time sensitive or urgent than the other? And or maybe more people depending on the outcome of appointment number one or number two. And so I just, we know what's going on. We know what the appointments are about. So I just kind of honestly just take a couple seconds once I go, oh no, literally figure out which one might be more important and then get a hold of the other one, the number two, which means they're still important. But at this particular moment, they can maybe wait a little bit. And then I just contact the second one. And I just be honest with people because what I have found, pretty well everyone does the same things. This is not the first time they're hearing about someone double booked. And most people, especially if they know you, they're just going to go, it's okay. And then you figure out the next time appointment number two and I can get together. And you just go with it.
So I think, first of all, the mindful reaction would definitely be stress, panic, even trying to extend myself to do both. Okay, like I'll go here, be a few minutes late and try to do it all. But no, like Connie said, just navigating which one is important, which one is not important, which one can be flexed and moved. And most people understand because, yes, most people have at one point or another been overbooked or overbooked themselves. And it's not worth the stress to just be fooling around with all that stuff. If stuff happens, you make it work.
Yep.
Right. Okay, family distraction at home. You're working from home and your kids or your grandkids or maybe a friend's kid start arguing loudly in the next room. So what would be your mindful reaction and or your mindful reaction?
Yeah, so this is like my life. I work from home and I have kids and I'm constantly parenting is like my passion, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, it's my passion. So I'm always trying to figure out how to be better, at it. And so I have reacted, I put the phone on pause.
Yeah.
Or I'm on the phone and they're arguing or whatever's going on. And I have that energy that you don't want to have, and what, and that whole energy. But since I've been doing a lot of, research and just really taking this whole parenting thing really deep, I now will say, hold on to whoever I'm talking to or what I'm doing, if I'm working or talking to somebody or whatever. And I connect, so I'll go in there and I go, okay, what's going on? Well, this, and this. And they start talking, they start telling their sides of the story. And then like, I physically go over and like touch them, like maybe on the shoulder and go, okay, what now? You talk. And then like, you talk and what's up. So it's just like trying to model what I would want done for me. Like you're saying, basically, I still, of course, have moments where I'm like, hey, you got what, and just like that whole thing. But because I'm really mindful of it, it's helped eliminate some of that energy that I would have brung before. So I just want them, I want to model what they should do as well. So if I go in there and get all freaked out or start yelling and just assume, it doesn't get anywhere. And my kids look at me because they want to be heard and they want to be, they want it's like, don't just take this side or take that side. They want both their sides to be heard. And so I'm going to give them that as well, versus just assuming who's doing what. So, yeah. So, yeah, it just, my first triggering thing would be really frustration. I'm trying to work, I'm on the phone, and then I just take that moment before I enter and go, okay, what's going on? But yeah, it's a mindful practice. I'm still practicing it. It's not perfect. Not perfect.
I think we are.
You might hear a little, but you might hear little waves in my tone, at times. But yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
Practicing.
That's what you got to do, is just practice it. Because it's a journey.
I don't have kids or grandkids. However, if my friends' kids were here, they would probably be cooped up in a room. I would probably let her deal with the actual argument because she's the mum. But I would suggest, initially, yeah, if I was not checking myself, I would get frustrated, probably, particularly if I was deep in focus on something for work, right? But then I would calm myself and I would let her take care of the argument. But I might suggest something like, particularly if they're cooped up in a room, right? I might suggest, hey, we have a swimming pool here. Maybe they'd like to go out and have a little swim, or, maybe they'd like to walk up to the ice cream store up, which is 3 blocks away, right? So maybe, just changing the energy a little bit, or giving them sort of alternatives or options that might be supportive, not just for me, but really for them as well, right? So that's what I might do.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. Good. Very good. I love it. So I have grandchildren. God gives you grandchildren so that you can have a do-over. You have a chance to get it right.
Yay. Yes. Hopefully I get a do-over too.
Yeah. I get a chance to get it right with my grandchildren. And so now I would pause my work and then calmly address the situation. Ask them to be a little quieter. I maybe suggest a different activity, right? And then I'll return to work. I love what Mitta said. I like how she diverted, like, go 3 blocks down.
No, that's awesome.
I got some coupons for some ice cream.
Yeah.
I really like that one, Mitta. Or my last thing is, since I am an entrepreneur, I may just take the rest of the day off.
I was going to say that too. You know what?
Yeah,
how about let's go do something, because it could be an attention thing. It's just about being mindful of what's going on. It might be
maybe we should go get some ice cream.
Yes. I was just going to say that maybe it's time that we can have a little break.
Yes.
And something with them.
So there's no right answer. They're all right. It's just, what's the situation?
Yeah, that was so much fun. Thank you, ladies, so much for playing my game. Mindful scenarios. Maybe I'll have to make a board game of it. Our topic today is mindful to mindful, a journey to inner peace and productivity. And so in our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle. And as women entrepreneurs, we juggle numerous roles and responsibilities, as we all mentioned here today, from running our businesses to managing our personal lives. And so the pressure to stay on top of everything can often leave us feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and quite frankly, exhausted. But what if we could shift our perspective and our approach to our daily lives with more mindfulness? And in this episode, we'll explore how we can transform from being mindful to truly mindful. And so mindfulness is more than just a trend or a buzzword. It is a powerful practice that helps us stay grounded, focused, and present in the moment. And it allows us to navigate the challenges of entrepreneurship with greater clarity, and I'm going to say, and calm. And by incorporating mindfulness into our routines, we can enhance our creativity, improve our decision making, and cultivate a sense of peace. So, ladies, for our plug in discussion, what does the transformation to mindful mean to you? And how has this shift impacted your life and business? And can you share a personal experience where you felt overwhelmed and how mindfulness helped you regain your balance?
All right. Well, I'm a list maker anyway. I'm very visual oriented. Um, and one of my love languages is talking. Yeah. So I like to have things. I don't like the unknown being out there all the time. So literally, I make a list, and I do write things down too because I like to do that. And I'll make a list of how they come into my mind, random order. What do I need to get accomplished? And this could be things I need to accomplish today, or maybe because I have a nonprofit and a business like we all do. What things do I need to get accomplished today that other people are depending on that information so they can move forward and do what they need to do? So I make a list. I mean, I just write them down as they come to mind, and then I go back and I number them. What are things that I feel I have to get done today? And those are my number one items. And I focus on them first. I have to get them done today. There are other things that are important, but maybe I have a couple days or maybe a week to get them in order. But so my things that I have to do today that are priority, I just number them number one. And then the things that are a little lower priority, but are still important, I number them as number two. And then things that I would like to get done or I have a little more time for, they're number three. Okay, so now I'm going to focus on my number ones. Out of my number ones, what do I need to work on first? And we all know what those things are. And I just work on my number ones. And if I can get my number ones done, yay. If there's a number one that doesn't get done, then we go back to what we've talked about earlier here. If there's someone you need to contact and say, okay, I don't have this quite yet, but I'll have it. I should have it by this time. And I just go down my list and I work on the most urgent things first, and the things that can wait, let them wait. It's not the end of the world if you don't get everything on your list done every day. I just prioritize.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, I've heard that advice before too about numbering them,
Yes.
so that they have a place value as importance.
Yes.
You know, so that you don't see it and get so overwhelmed with everything right away. Like just try to get the three number ones done and then everything else, you know. But yeah, when you ask the question, how has it impacted your life? It's like everything. Mindfulness, I think of awareness when I think of mindfulness, and it's the most important thing in life. Being mindful is you living your life in the present. All you have is now. You don't have the past anymore, and you don't know the future. So really being mindful, all you have is the moment that you're in. And so it's definitely shifted, because it's just shifted my reactions when I said about when we talked about being on the phone or working from home and the kids. It shifted how I react to things now. Mm-hmm. It's literally everything, mindfulness, you know. And it's harder to be mindful now because of phones and all the distractions. You know, in the 80s and 90s, we were just mindful because you were waiting for a bus. You would just wait for the bus. You weren't on your phone while you were waiting for the bus. You had to be mindful, but it was on accident. I mean, it was just the life. It wasn't on accident. It was a life we lived. We were mindful. Now we don't have to be. We can be multitask. We can multitask. So we have to hack the system and go, hold on, put the phone down, just take in the sun. Like, but before we just took in the sun because we didn't have a phone. Yeah. I say that to say that it's crazy now that we have to like make ourselves mindful. And that also speaks to maybe we're putting too much on our plate. So my personal experience would be, I literally didn't sign my kids up for things,
Mm-hmm.
predicting, knowing that I would be overwhelmed with them, even though I really love to see my kids do what they like to do. I love to watch them play basketball. I like watching it, and I want them to get the exercise, all of it. But then I was like, oh, you're doing it again. You're signing them up for too much to be overwhelmed at a future time. You're doing it again. So just about being aware. That's when I think of mindful, is just being present and checking in with yourself and going, what am I doing? What does this all mean? Why am I doing this? And yeah, you want them to get exercise, but they could get exercise outside too. You don't have to organize all the exercise either. It's just about thinking and being aware of things, because we're on autopilot. And so we're like, okay, when's the date? Sign up. And then you're overwhelmed because you signed it. It's like, no. So that's my thing, is that it means everything. When you say the impact, what does it mean? How does it impact your life? What's the shift? That shift was, oh, all we have is now. So just always think that way. You might only have right now. So just always think that way. Just always think that way and you'll be fine. Just always go, ooh, I might not have tomorrow. Ooh, okay. Hug them now. Kiss them now. Talk to them now. Do everything now, just in case.
That's good.
So I used to have a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, and I would get very overwhelmed. Part of that was fibromyalgia. Part of that was my coping and conditioning skills of learning to survive. So I would make sure everything was done perfectly. I would make sure that everybody was taken care of, even if it cost me. So some of the freeing truths that I learned through my years of therapy and counseling was, I'm not responsible for anybody but myself. So if they are upset, that's not on me. If my kids decide that they're going to wear shorts and it is very cold out, that's not my problem. That's theirs. If they don't want to do their laundry, it's not my problem. So getting a lot of that stress and taking care of everybody off my plate really helped. And I have done a lot of my own personal development work and healing work to just be really calm. Like, I don't get stressed about hardly anything anymore, because I just make sure that I'm taking care of myself. One, because I have to, because of my fibromyalgia, and two, because it just, the other way doesn't work well. And I feel so much better now, not being in that stress, being mindful, being able to calm myself if things go out. Like, most of this stuff you can't control. There's only a few things you can, and that's your reaction, your thoughts, your actions, stuff like that. So once I finally adopted and really received that kind of teaching, then I'm like, okay, my life got a lot simpler, a lot less stressful. And yeah, like I said, almost all of my stress is reduced. And when something does come up, maybe that's unexpected, I will probably be like, okay, no, wait, this is going to be all right. It happened before, or God will take care of this, or, oh yeah, this is right here, whatever, however, whatever is needed. And a lot of self-talk, positive self-talk, because I used to have a really nasty inner voice, which I'm sure many of us have. So I've really, really done a lot of work and been very mindful about my self-talk. And now it's all positive. Okay, you've got this. Nope, it's going to be all right. That's not the worst that's going to happen. So yeah, knowing me from before till now, I'm proud of my changes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to say something similar. I mean, to me, being mindful is mindful of your mind, right? Your thoughts, your self-talk. And so for me, I think, the transition and growing is being more aware, like you said, LaToya, and just being more aware and recognizing when you're not being positive to yourself, when you're not being like, when those thoughts are there that aren't really the best for your well-being. And so recognizing them and then doing something to change that situation, whether it just be like moving or just changing your thoughts and not getting caught up in all that negative self-talk, that kind of a thing. And so I think that's really helped me in my life, is to become more aware so that I don't get lost in it. I mean, even if it still comes, which it does sometimes, I'm not lost in it so much anymore. I'm able to, in the past, I might have gotten very depressed with that negative self-talk or the negative thoughts. And so these days I can just understand that it's there, and I can be more resilient and more positive and more forward thinking. So because with the same thing with overwhelm, it's the same self-talk thing. And I sometimes will change I will reframe, change my mood or change my movement. So I might get up and go for a walk, something like that, just to change that space back to being mindful again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's really good. For me, the shift from mindful to mindful represents a powerful realignment of priorities. So it's about moving from a state of constant busyness and worriness to a place of clarity, calm, and intentional focus, which is why I had to incorporate it into my business. And LaToy mentioned the word becoming, and that was why I put that word at the beginning of my organization, becoming fierce female entrepreneurs, because we're still learning and we're still doing it. Yep. And this transition has impacted my life and my business in transformative ways. And I've had to learn to let go of the unnecessary clutter and instead of focus on what truly matters. And in business, I no longer approach tasks with a sense of overwhelm. And I've become more present and more productive and more able to make thoughtful decisions that align with my values and my long-term goals, which is why I've incorporated that into my program. And for example, I'll give you an example. There was a time in my business when I was trying to be everyone's coach. And when I started my organization, we only hosted empowerment events. Connie remembers, she used to come too. And our events, they were filled with the community of awesome women. However, when I added the coaching services to my business, I still invited those same women to sign up, because I wanted to coach everyone, but as a result, this led me to attracting clients who were not ready for what I was offering. And then as a result, I could feel the weight of burnout starting to creep in. And so I was starting to become mentally drained because I wasn't doing the fun events, as much because I had to incorporate the coaching. However, through prayer, I discovered mindfulness. And by practicing mindfulness through, deep breathing exercise, short meditations, and focusing on the present moment. And Mitta was a big part of this because when she does summits, she does visualizations and such. I was able to step back from the overwhelm. And instead of trying to be everyone's coach, I niched down my business and I decided to coach people who I'm called to serve. And so slowly I was able to regain balance. And by going through Mitta's visualizations and, like I said, the prayer, it took me a few months to establish my coaching program and then to distinguish from the women that just wanted to attend my empowerment events. Okay, versus the women who said, I need a little bit more. Can we go a little deeper? And then they decided to hire me to grow their purpose-driven business. And today I am so happy that I get to help success-driven women entrepreneurs. I help them get past their fear and procrastination, move forward, take action, and build a profitable and sustainable business with passion, purpose, and profit. So, so mindfulness, it gave me the clarity and calm that I needed to manage stress and approach each challenge with a clearer mind. And so mindfulness practices have allowed me to be more authentically, run a more purpose driven business, and it helped me connect deeply with my clients because they can see it too. So thank you so much, Mitta.
Yay!
That's all part of it. Mindfulness is also acceptance and letting go. That's all part of it. And so that's what I hear you saying is you accept it and let go of some things within that mindfulness. Being mindful. It's thinking of, that's really good.
Yeah, because you guys remember me saying before on here how when I first, started being a business and started coaching, it was like, okay, get this work done and we'll report next week. Let me know. And it was like, wait a minute. No, I now changed that. And the whole first module is about mindfulness and your mindset. And getting you prepared because everything won't go exactly like you want it to go. So it's like we talked about in the mindful scenarios. How are you going to react?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Good. Yes.
I think it's beautiful how you've added that module for mindfulness on your course because it's really important. So it's great that you changed what you did and you added it. I think that's great. Good for you.
Yeah, because, and thank you for saying that. I had a conversation actually with Toy. I am so old school. I come from get it done. Just get it done. What's the problem? Why isn't this done?
Yeah.
Now thinking about, okay, you may be going through something. You may be stuck, and it could be something just simple, just maybe praying with someone or like having a visualization or just, doing your hypnotherapy, just finding out what's going on and just listening.
We talked about it, and I said when you would tell me different things that was going on, when we would talk about the business. I would say, I said, well, some of them might need therapy. What it sounds like to me, and then you would go, and I go, because if you're not getting out of your own way, it could be something else deeper that's going on. Versus you have the tools, but they can't apply the tools until they deal with what could be going on. So just knowing how to do something is different, so so it was great to add this. I said, people are really trying to, deal with some inner things that are in their way. And so they show up to you once they've done some of that, or even you suggesting that, saying, talking to them about the mindfulness part of it.
Yeah. The part that I did add is preparing them, but it's after they've already talk to the therapist and their counselor. But the questions and the pre-questions that I have, I'm able now to take on clients that are ready for what I'm offering. Because before I was taking everybody. I was like, okay, come on. Yes. Volume 2 of Fearless Reflections is out now. Thank you everyone who have purchased Volume 1 and Volume 2. If you're ready to embark on a journey of fearless self-discovery and empowerment in today's fast-paced world, look no further than Fearless Reflections. And so Volume 1 offers busy women leaders the space to dream, to set intentions, and to celebrate your accomplishment, no matter how small. And it's your canvas to print the picture of your empowered future. Also, volume 2, it's more than a journal. It's your personal empowerment tool. It's a space where you can explore your thoughts, set intentions, and reflect on your journey towards unstoppable success. So thank you, everyone, for supporting us, becoming fierce female entrepreneurs. We could not do what we do without you. So thank you so much for your comments. The people are getting blessed already with the volume 2. All right. Thank you so much. All right. It's time for Note to Self. Note to Self. So as we dive deeper into this conversation about moving from being mindful to mindful, it's important to remember that mindfulness isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about small, intentional steps that lead us toward greater awareness, peace, and presence in our everyday lives. And I know for many of us, especially those that are just starting out, mindfulness can seem a bit daunting, or it could seem a little abstract. So let's break it down into some practical steps. So for someone who's new to mindfulness, where do you suggest they start? And then what are some simple practices they can incorporate in their daily lives?
It's so easy to get frazzled and have your mind going in 50 million directions at once because, like we've been saying, man, we are responsible for so much. We have our personal selves, and you need to take care of your personal self. You can't pour from an empty cup. So you need to take care of yourself. And then we have families or loved ones or dear friends or other people. You have your businesses. You have any kind of ministry or volunteer work that is dear to your heart. So there's just a lot. And you're going, okay, I want to do all this. I want to become the best person that I can become. Where do I start? So the fact that you even want to get to that point is a big deal, rather than just saying, I just have so much to do. So I'm an organizer. I like to organize. So first of all, I take a breath, and I'm telling you, I go to the Lord Jesus. God is my number one go-to. He knows what's going on. He knows what's in my heart. He knows the people that are out there that need what I can give because of him. So I calm down first of all, and I try to get in a quiet spot and get my thoughts collected. I do make my lists like we talked earlier, and I write things down, the things that I know I need to get done. I know what the priorities are of getting those done. And so I would say to someone that's just starting out, yay for you. I'm proud of you that you even want to take the step to get going. That's a big deal because there's a lot of people that are not ready for that or don't know to get that way. So yay, first of all, for the decision. Do whatever organizing things make sense for you so that you don't treat everything as a number one, I have to do this moment priority. And then work through your list. And then, so take care of yourself, do the things that we've been talking about in this session, which are wonderful, and just become the best you that you can be. It's not that complicated. It's just a matter of becoming mindful of what you need to do and where you're going to go.
Yeah, I like, man, that was so good saying that, just the fact, because we want to do everything, and then we sometimes beat ourselves up about the things that we can't do or can't accomplish. And then we get like we get overwhelmed with trying to get organized because we can't even get organized. You know, we start beating ourselves. We can't even do that right. I like how you said just the fact that you want to start being more mindful. That means you realize something wasn't feeling good in your soul and you're trying to even just recognize something. So now you're going to take the steps to do it. But don't worry, there's no right way to do it. So just the fact that you figured out that you need to change something, you're already winning, or that you want to even get more mindful. Because, you know what I mean? That is already, I just love that you said that, you know, now it's like, now I got to figure out how to be more mindful. That's another thing to do. You just put something else on your list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, just the very fact that you're already winning by the fact that you feel like you want to be more mindful, which is a good thing. And so, okay, that was step one. Pat yourself on the back for that. And then everything that we said, start figuring out how you can incorporate those things for yourself, however you want to do it, like whatever you want to do. Take everything we said, but I just love that you said that, because it just really, that's the first step, is being okay with that. Like, good for you that, you know, So my thing is, I have a book here, Fearless Reflections, Volume 2. I made sure I had it here next to me because I wanted to remember. I'm going through it and reading it. And on page 8, one of the tips is practice mindfulness meditation. So for my note to self, I thought that was great, because I thought Joy goes into science of why. It helps your nervous system, short-term meditation, how much it helps and why it helps. So you can get into that. So I say start with breathing. Seeing this in the book made me think of, okay, breath, short term, you know, and then it was like, oh, you can get into more breath work, because that's a thing now. Everything's, you know, a thing now, not in a bad way, but there's a lot of things. Breath work is a thing. And so you can get into it, and you can like do that breath where you're like, someone's following and doing it with you, all of that, if you want to get into that. And then you can also just do short-term meditation where you're in your car, breathing, taking deep breaths, because I realized that I don't take a lot of deep breaths. I'm just breathing, because you breathe without thinking. But when I take deep ones, I feel better. But I don't even realize that I'm not taking deep breaths. It's the autopilot of it all. I don't even realize that I don't take deep breaths. So just seeing that. And so that would be, so when the question goes, where would you start? You can start with the meditation, meaning taking deep breaths, and you don't need anything to do it. You could be in your car. It's one of the most things that you can do. I did it real quick to tell a quick story. I did it the other day with my kids. One of my youngest was having a hard time, and in that moment, I did feel frustrated and I felt overwhelmed. And I sat there and I closed my eyes in front of him. And it was so funny because he stopped and just looked at me. And I actually I just started taking deep breaths. Because I really didn't know what to do in that moment. There was just a moment where I didn't know how to handle his behavior in that moment. And I just started doing it. And then he looked at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, I said, "I'm just taking some deep breaths." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And I explained to him, and he knew what he was doing, you know, would frustrate. That's why, you know, but I wasn't like, well, I'm taking deep breaths because of how you're being, no. I just was doing it. And then it's like modeling to him that he could do this too if he ever feels overwhelmed and doesn't know how to handle a situation. So I just started doing it. And I actually did. I wasn't just doing it for show. I actually felt better after. I was like, okay. I said, now what's going on? Then we started talking about his behavior. And I was like, okay, so this and that. And he goes, I'm going to sit next to you and do it too. And he started doing it with me in that moment. Well, it stopped his behavior, which was not good. It wasn't ideal behavior.
Yeah.
So he stopped the behavior and then started doing what I was doing. So that I didn't even have to
Oh,
discipline
wow.
the behavior because he started doing what I was doing. I didn't
Yeah.
really have to really do anything further about the behavior because he just stopped and looked at me like, what are you doing? I'm taking some deep breaths, just trying to figure some things out. And he goes, oh, and it's like, I'm not mad at you. I didn't say nothing like, yeah, I just started doing it. I closed my eyes, so I didn't give him a look. It wasn't like, sometimes we do pause and we give a look with that pause and they still know you're mad at them. So I closed my eyes on purpose so that he couldn't read what
Yeah.
he couldn't read that. It was just, was she? Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, I'm going to do that too.
See?
Started.
Yeah.
So anyway,
like
I just wanted to share that. Yes.
Okay,
That's a
good.
double win right there.
Breathing, because you can always breathe anywhere. You can take deep breaths on an airplane. You could be, so that's why I would say start there. That's just my little advice of maybe start there.
Yeah. 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 Krista
So that was
told us that we can, at the end of the day, you always have your breath.
You're like, I'm alive.
Yeah. Very good.
So I definitely appreciate what you said earlier, Joy, about the tiny steps, because that's what I am all about, is just taking one tiny, tiny little step. So if you're new to mindfulness, I would highly recommend, and I'm not paid by them, but Insight Timer is fantastic. So there's like 2 minutes, there's 30 minutes, there's whatever, and if for anything that you want. And they're guided, there's music, there's all sorts of things. So that I've been, one of my counselors introduced me to that probably like 8 or 10 years ago, and I almost use it every day. I do use it multiple times a day, actually, I should say. Like LaToy said, deep breathing, because you always have your breath, and that definitely, even just 1 or 2, helps to reset the situation. If sitting in silence is overwhelming, or like, oh my goodness, I could never sit, just start with 30 seconds, 1 minute, like tiny steps, go as small as possible and start there. And then calming music, I find just the atmosphere of the whole home, like having the music on and what kind of music throughout the day and whatnot, really makes a big difference. And journaling, because you can't always talk to somebody, but you can always just write out your thoughts. And that is a huge mindfulness activity that I do often now. I've made a point to be more mindful, to do it more often. And you can write out how you're feeling and nobody needs to see it. And you can write anything bad or good or whatever you want in there. And you can go, okay, that's out of my system now. And actually, this isn't so bad. And I do see that there is a solution in this. So those would be my little tips from somebody who has been very overwhelmed, who has burned out 3 times, and now is living a very calm and intentional life. So those are some of the things that I've done consistently over the years.
Very good.
Fantastic, guys. You've got some great tips and they're all so good. I'll just add a couple of things that, everybody likes different things. There's something different, right? Everybody's different. So one of the things that I might suggest is particularly if you're just starting, is to see if you can catch yourself during the day. Again, catch yourself in any kind of thought that's not helping you so much, any kind of negative thought or any kind of self-judgmental type thoughts, and see if you can catch yourself. And a good way to know, if you can say, well, how do I do that? Well, if you're not feeling good, like let's say you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling sad, or you're feeling overwhelmed, then that might be the time that you're telling yourself some of these thoughts. And so you want to see if you can catch yourself in any of these. And then a way that you could change that is just to say stop, just to say to yourself stop, and then see if you could think of some other thought that you could think, or some other way that you could, something good that you could bring in. And like I mentioned before, you could change that into movement. One way to sort of stop that loop of the negative thoughts is to go for a walk, dance, clean, whatever is your thing, right? And or breathe, like LaToy said, or journal, or paint or whatever, play the piano, whatever it is for you, right? Maybe just hugging your child or, whatever it is that will just break that pattern. So the first thing for me is just recognizing your thoughts. Just seeing if you can recognize something, catch something that you're thinking during the day and turn it around. So the other thing is what I mentioned is movement. So I mentioned that. So I think that's always valuable is to change that pattern, is to move. And the other one is, I'm really big on visualization. And of course, if that's not your thing, you can do meditation, prayer, all of those as well. But I find visualization is really good. It plants the seeds of what you want. And it also usually puts you in a better mood, because if you're visualizing something that you want or a way that you want to be, and you're imagining it as if it's already happened, you feel better because it's actually happening. And it also gives you a little more confidence, because it's like, wow, I'm being this. So there are a whole different ways to visualize. You can do it yourself for a couple of minutes at home. You can do it for 20 minutes at home. You can listen to a recording. You can record something yourself and play it back. You can write something and just sort of read it back to yourself. There's many different ways. And I think visualizing is just sort of whatever it is that you would like a simple goal, perhaps. Just imagine that it's already happened. And feel, not only seeing what and imagining what it is that you're doing, but feeling what it feels like. It's so important. So if you've reached that goal, or got that quality that you want, you feel good. So imagine what that feels like. And that is also a really great way to sort of up your day a little bit, and to project, to put that seed for yourself into the universe and see it flourish.
That's really good.
It is really, really,
really good.
Yeah. People like to feel and touch things. And so one of my suggestions is, maybe washing dishes, putting your hand in some warm water. It's the smallest
simple
thing.
Yeah. A lot of times that's what it is.
Yeah, like that Mitta was saying. And then it gradually becomes part of your routine, right? And so I would say the key is just consistency, what all of you ladies are doing. And then, of course, journaling, which is how I started doing the books, the Fearless Reflections books, was because I started the newsletter, which turned into a monthly journal that I sent out. And then the ladies started replying back to me saying, I would like to have all of this in one place, because I was doing journal prompts. I didn't even really realize it, but the lady was like, oh my God, your journal prompts are awesome. And so journaling is awesome way to start as well, to be more mindful. And so whatever works for you, just allowing yourself to experience the present moment without judgment.
Oh, okay. I'm so perfect. Real quick, because you just said it, and Mitta said it, and then this is crazy because we're all thinking alike. Well, but when you said without judgment, Mitta said recognize the thoughts that are coming in your head, and just when you're throughout the day recognizing them. The without judgment part comes in where you go, that's a thought, whether it's a good or a bad thought, or overwhelming or a bad. Don't judge the thought. We beat ourselves up enough about, now we're mad that we are thinking that way.
Yeah, so true.
It's okay. Yeah. It's, because you go, like, whatever it is. But you said without judgment, that puts a stamp on Mitta saying, first of all, we don't even recognize the voices in our head or our thoughts. We don't even like recognize what we're thinking. Right. Maybe we're so used to beating ourselves up all the time, we just beat ourselves up in our head. I'm not enough, I'm this, I'm that. And you're just doing it unconsciously. We're not even conscious about the thoughts. So Mitta said, recognize the thought. And then you saying without judgment is the other part that goes with that. Because if you recognize it and you beat yourself up about it, well, that's not. And so it's just a thought. It's a thought. It might not be a great thought, but I'm thinking that way again.
Yes, thank you. And I actually meant to add that. So I'm so glad that Joy mentioned it, because I know I've been through that where, you judge yourself, recognize, don't judge, which is what I meant to say too, and then see if you can turn it around a little bit and do something.
Yeah. You putting the not judgment part on it. I was thinking that so that's just,
I just want to say, there's so much I always learn every time we get together. So I would say, don't just listen to this and go, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," and do nothing. The fact that you want to do something, cool.
Love that.
Kudos, man. 5 stars for you. That's awesome. And then just what makes sense to you. You don't have to do everything, and you don't have to do it perfect. And just like we're all saying, we beat ourselves up, and it's like, oh my gosh, I knew better. Why didn't I? Don't go there. Don't go there. Give grace to yourself like you would give to other people.
Yes.
So, great tips here today. And if you can just realize that you need the tips and you want some tips, you don't want a whole volume, a whole encyclopedia, but you just want a few things, good for you. Just start there, one step at a time, and then go on from there. And be proud of yourself when you take a step forward. That's awesome, because there's a lot of people that don't take a step forward, but you are. So that's awesome. I applaud you for that.
I was going to say that a quote I heard a long time ago is, "Many things are urgent, only few things are necessary."
Very good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And if it's urgent to them, it's not necessarily also urgent to me.
Right.
Yeah, and I would say just be patient with yourself. This is like a lifetime process, right? It's not like something that you got to like get overnight or over this week or over this month. You have to do it, become mindful. This is like a process, a lifetime process, and just be patient. And,
yes.
And enjoy the trip as much as possible.
Yes, because it took me to have grandchildren to learn it. So hey, you can learn it, but
hey.
Oh, stop overreacting. I forget my daughter. She would they would walk across the rug and I'm straightening up the rug. She's like, "Mom, it's okay. It's okay."
Exactly. Yes.
It's great though, because it's all good. No one's, we're just trying and we're just living and learning.
Yep.
And you're not, like I said, there's no real destination. It's so funny because there's no real destination. It's just continue to just figure it out.
Yes.
Just figure it out.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, ladies. This was so awesome. I love it when you come on the podcast, and I love listening to you all. So thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights and experiences. And it's clear that mindfulness isn't just a buzzword. It's a powerful tool that can transform our lives and our businesses. So to our listeners, I hope you found today's discussion as enlightening and inspiring as I have. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Sister.